And now the final company for this session, Bardoc Gold Limited, Robert Ryan. Robert has in-depth knowledge of the Kalgoorlie region, having worked and lived in the region for over 17 years, graduated from the WA School of Mines and has extensive technical and operational experience working at the highest levels of the WA gold industry, and brings the appropriate blend of skills and expertise required to oversee the advancement of the Bardoc Gold project through feasibility and into financing, development and operations. Thanks, Robert.
All right, thank you for the introduction. And after 17 years of living and working in Kalgoorlie Boulder, it's my pleasure to finally be up here and to present to you what is one of Australia's best undeveloped gold projects, and one of the very few projects that's going to produce over 100,000 ounces per annum. The Bardoc Gold project has over 3 million ounces in resource. All-in sustaining costs are $1,220 an ounce, and its average annual production of 135,000 ounces per annum really does show that this is a high margin, long life project. And of our 3 million ounces, we've got 800,000 ounces of mining reserve, and it's given us a significant amount of confidence in being able to get the project financed and into development. We are targeting 135,000 ounces per annum from a 1.8 million tonne per annum processing plant. Our average long grade of 2.6 grams does show that we are one of the highest grade developers are about to hit the market. We have strong margins at all-in sustaining cost, $1,220 an ounce. And we've got $30 million cash at bank, which means we're well funded all the way through into final investment decision next year. And one of the most important things is we've got a strong board and management team. The board is led by the ex-group of Pilbara Minerals, who've got extensive amounts of experience getting projects financed into construction. Over the last 12 months, we've significantly built out our management team to contain a lot of Kalgoorlie-centric mining expertise and as well as environmental expertise to get this project into production. And we welcomed a number of institutions on the register in our last capital raising. We raised $24 million, primarily aimed at building the support from the investment community that are going to be there from a larger equity raise when it comes to the construction build. The people who we have on the register now have made commitments to be there for 2 to 3 times their current investment to be there to build the project. And that's a fantastic position to be in, because it's given us the ability to be able to push the project at 100 miles an hour. Tony Liwitz, John Young, Neil Biddle lead the board. And as I said, these 3 gentlemen had a tremendous amounts of experience in getting projects financed and into production. Rowan Johnson's a mining engineer, and he brings a technical know-how in how to bring projects into operation, as well as knowing how to turn around struggling operations, which he's done many times in the past. And the management team level, we've built out a number of people within that skill set of running successful operations in the goldfields, with operations such as Norton Goldfields, the Paddington Gold Mine, as well as Northern Star Resources, Bardoc and Goldfields as well. It gives us an in-depth experience of how to operate successfully in the Kalgoorlie mining region. And 2020 has been a transformational year for us. We've released our pre-feasibility study that really does go to show that this is one of the best undeveloped gold projects on the ASX. We've completed a number of key de-risking milestones. We've released our resource update, which has added another 170,000 ounces of indicated material within our mine plans. We've also conducted multiple optimisations across all of our resources within our tenure. And that's given us clear vision now to be able to go forward, and I've got no doubt in saying that we'll be able to reach the 1 million ounce reserve milestone once we come into our definitive feasibility study. Still to come, we'll have our concentrate offtake agreement for the Aphrodite deposit in December quarter of this year, and we've got our definitive feasibility study in the first quarter of next year. That really puts a project in the key position to get funding, and a final investment decision be shortly then after. And there's no better place to build a gold mine. 40 kilometres north of Kalgoorlie, right on the doorstep on the heart of the goldfields. And this project is close to road, rail, power, infrastructure, locally based workforce, and until 2018, this was a series of projects in serious need of consolidation. Spitfire Materials started out under the guise of John and Neil They were looking for a gold project. After exiting lithium, they wanted a more stable commodity and seeing the opportunity within gold. North of Kalgoorlie was a series of projects that were going through pre-feasibility study, but neither had the scale or the opportunity to be able to develop a project in its own right. The merger with Aphrodite Gold gave the company 1.3 million ounces. They then merged shortly, 12 months later, merged with Excelsior Gold, giving the company a little over 2.4 million ounces. Since then, in 2019, I joined the company focused in pushing the project into production. We've focused on low-cost complementary acquisitions that have really built our footprint within this operating region and given us the ability now to take a strategic and holistic approach into how to bring this project into development. And it really is one of the best undeveloped gold projects in Australia. With 800,000 ounces of mining reserve, and we see significant scope to grow that through the DFS studies. We have the potential to produce gold at all-in sustaining costs of $1,220 an ounce. And when you start looking at the current margins at $2,500, $2,600, $2,700 an ounce, there's significant margins to be made at this project. We've got a very high confidence mine plan with over 80% of our material in measured and indicated resources. That has given us the ability to be able to look at the project from a debt financing point of view. The project will support anywhere up to about 75% debt. For a comfortable project, we wish to look around about that 60 to 65% debt equity split. And we've got clear vision now and being able to get funding for the project from a banking perspective, and as well having the equity supporters on the board to be able to provide that. The processing flow sheet is fairly straightforward. Your standard SAG ball mill configuration for your free milling ore will be a CIL circuit and a flotation circuit for the refractory ore at Aphrodite. We'll produce a gold in concentrate. 50% of our production will be gold bars and the other 50% will be gold in concentrate. It's a very significant market. There's a number of companies that aren't talked about too much about selling a gold concentrate overseas, but there's a lot of opportunities not only in Western Australia and New South Wales with companies doing it, but also overseas it is much more common as well. And what we find here is a strong demand for clean gold concentrates. If you have low arsenic capabilities, similar to Aphrodite, where we'll produce a gold concentrate, that will have low arsenic, around 2 to 3%. And there's significant demand. And when we start having a look at the other deleterious elements of the concentrate, we see a lot of opportunity to be able to work with off-takers and get the best payabilities possible for the company. And when we're talking to off-takers now, we've shortlisted 5 or 6. Those key guys have come back with terms anywhere from an improvement of 3 to 5% of what we had in our pre-feasibility study. That's gone a number of ways to showing that not only at the current gold market, where we're going to be a post-tax NPV of nearly $500 million and IRRs in excess of 55%, but there's immense opportunity to improve the payabilities and the like, as well as increasing the reserve within our current resource, and there's a lot of opportunity for us to improve on those metrics from our pre-feasibility study in our DFS. We've got 420,000 ounces of open pit mining reserve with significant scope to be able to expand upon this. The Zoroastrian deposit, every time we drill it, it gets better. There's a significant open pit cut back there that will add quite a lot of ounces to the open pit reserves come DFS. And at Aphrodite as well, we see a project here that was discovered in the mid-90s with very little regional exploration and very little drilling outside the main alpha and phi lodes. What we see to the southeast of the current open pit on the Sigma lode is about 30 to 40,000 ounces in inferred mineral resource that optimises as an open pit. We're going to have a look at infilling that project, bring that into reserves for the DFS. Plus, I think there's a lot of opportunity there at depth, because where we find these thick and rich supergene blankets at Aphrodite, we get a high-grade underground core. And underground mining, we've got 370,000 ounces. Aphrodite makes up the bulk of it, and it is a beautiful ore body. 7 to 30 metres wide, amenable to bulk mining techniques, and it's still open at depth. And like I said earlier, there's been very little regional exploration, and the Sigma lode, which is just 200 to 300 metres away here from the Alpha lode, presents an opportunity very near mine to add to further mine life to this operation. So we've got 5 to 6 years worth of mine life here, and I've got no doubt after those 5 to 6 years we'll be mining for another 5 to 10. Zoroastrian, as I said before, every time we drill it gets better. A modest reserve of 80,000 ounces, but we've added 45,000 ounces of indicated material in the last resource update that's all within that mine plan. We should see a strong conversion of that to mining reserve when we go through our definitive feasibility study. So I've got no doubt that Zoroastrian, again, will have a 4 to 5 year reserve life plan, and that'll continue well and truly past then. Our implementation plan is straightforward. We'll have our definitive feasibility study at the end of the March quarter next year, and then we're going to focus on getting this project ready for construction. I hope to be there standing in front of this podium with you, everyone here next year, with a project where we're pouring concrete and building the mine. And there's tremendous exploration upside still at the project. We've got the Aphrodite ore body where there's been very little drilling outside the main lodes. If we have a look at a number of targets within the area that show strong RAB supergene anomalies, they haven't been followed up for 200 or 300 metres north or south. So we see potential repetitions of the Alpha and Fire lodes further to the east, 500 metres to the east of Aphrodite. And I see a lot of potential here, and we're investing $5 million, not only in Aphrodite, but elsewhere. Mayday and North Canowna Star, we conducted a number of geophysical surveys. They have highlighted the potential of plus 100,000 ounce style mineralised lodes. So we want to go through and drill these deposits over the coming months and really add to a growth pipeline of projects. Because although we'll have a long life operation, 7 to 8 years, we want to make sure that we've got clear vision on how we're going to get out to a 10 to 15 year mine life through our growth pipeline of exploration. And near mine success plays a big part in that. At Zoroastrian, we released some results the other day that hit extensions of the Bluey's lode further to the north in a really untested area of the ore zone. 6 metres at 6.8 grams shows that what we think may be a repetition of the fractionated dolerite to the north, and it really does provide an exploration opportunity now. We've got one high-grade chute that has an underground mine in it that will have 100,000 ounces plus in a mining inventory. If we start looking further to the north, there's repetitions of that high-grade chute, and we want to test those in the coming months. To sum it all up, there's no better place to build a gold mine than Kalgoorlie. We are the heart of the goldfields, and it is really an opportunistic development for us. We've got a large and growing resource base with over 3 million ounces in resource, 800,000 ounces of reserve, and we'll look to push that past 1 million ounces as part of our definitive feasibility study. And we've got a strong board and management team to really focus on this project, who know how to get projects financed and approved, and a management team who knows how to operate gold mines in the goldfields. Mark McGowan said today that there's no better bet than WA. But when you start looking at the metrics that we have and the team we've put together, there's no better bet than Bardoc. Thank you very much for you.
Thank you, Robert. We have got time for a question, if there's one from the floor. No? That being the case, thank you everyone for joining us for this session. We'll be back here at 3:20, and thank you to the presenters.